She's my kid. What do you mean taller than Boca for real? Literally spells it. Hello? Bag. L. Dominance absurdist. Bagel. I don't like these spider videos. No. I'm getting closer. No. I would cry. Oh, I don't like that. My soul would leave my body. No, shark with freaking lasers. That is weird. It's a pronounced bagel. Obviously.
Dolphins get drunk. But why?
I knew that. I knew that. I know they get drunk. They get drunk. Isn't it on like the fumes from pufferfish or something? I think so. Yeah. Don't mess with dolphins when they're drunk either.
You see, the dolphin is by far and away the smartest animal in the ocean. In fact, they're actually...
Is that loud enough, guys? I sure hope so. Okay, I'll look at them.
The second smartest thing on the planet, just behind you and me. This means they are smart enough to understand that the ideal way to spend your night is more plastered than Chad and Max on your average Cold Ones episode. There is just one problem. Last I checked, there's no bottle-o and bikini bottom. So how does a dolphin get fired for all? Simple. They abuse pufferfish. You see, due to the lack of underwater alcohol, dolphins need to find other ways to get their fix, which is where SpongeBob's driving instructor comes in. You see, pufferfish
That's funny.
contain this really cool and totally not dangerous substance called tetrodotoxin. What is tetrodotoxin? You know, it's only one of the most potent natural neurotoxins on the f***ing planet. This shit will freeze your heart and lungs in under an hour with a tiny dose. And it's the reason why cooking a pufferfish requires a dexterity check so you don't, you know, hit the poison gland and get yourself deleted. Now, puffers carry this as a defense mechanism.
Why is it always him?
Poison accumulates in their organs and skin. Why is that important? Well, you see, I kinda lied. Dolphins don't get drunk. They get high on neurotoxin.
¿Quieres?
Pods of dolphins will bully pufferfish until they inflate, then partake in a literal puff pass. By lightly squeezing the puffer in their mouth, they receive a small dose of neurotoxin, which has a narcotic effect, allowing Flipper here to trip balls before passing the unhappy basketball onto the next submarine stoner. Flipper and friends saw the deadliest neurotoxin on the planet and said, "Fuck it, let me try some of that." If you see this thing T-pose...
Yeah, for those who don't know, dolphins are actually really dangerous.
Hey, now that Melody is independent, maybe you two can bond over saying bagel wrong. Bagel, bagel, bagel.
No, it's bagel! Wait, she says that? Oh yeah, you guys told me she says that. She is my kid. Bagel!
Run! Introducing the Anteater, a goofy...
Literally spells it. Bag. L. Bagel. What did he throw up? He threw up! Chat, go clean it up.
Little creature native to Brazil, and to understand why the absolute stance on this bad boy is a threat to your health, you're gonna have to understand a little...
Don't they have like talons? Aren't their talons like actually pretty big and can like go straight through your body?
About his lifestyle.
Think of the follow
Listen,
picture!
I know this may come as a shock to you, but the anteater eats ants. And weighing in at 40 kilos and 1.8 meters in length, it needs to consume upwards of 40,000 ants per day. Now, in order to help him hit his bulking goals, the anteater has a mystery mouse tool stored inside that XL sniffer. A 60-centimeter long tongue, designed to snake its way down an ant colony.
What that tongue doing though?
His tunnel network smash into their living room and abduct the entire cast of Bug's Life and convert them into...
What do you mean taller than Boca for real? I'm gonna fight you.
However, what that tongue do only goes so far, as an ant colony can extend up to 4 meters underground, and termites live in high-rises, which means our boy here is gonna have to do a little excavation to get to the goods. But last I checked, an anteater can't go down to Bunnings and buy a shovel. So how does he dig? Oh, that's simple, with the combat knives he has for claws. Yeah, anteaters are permanently cosplaying Freddy Krueger with a set of 4-inch claws, which, proving the effectiveness of a few inches, can crack through f***ing concrete.
Hello?
Now, these work great for digging, but they are also more than capable of flatlining you. When threatened, the anteater will rear up into a defensive T-pose. This is your sign, if you are smart, to turn around and fuck all the way off. If, however, you were, say, some dumbass trophy hunter who really felt the need to try and stab an animal for no reason other than ego, the anteater will swipe at you with those claws, which are at the perfect height to nail your inner thigh, slip through your flesh like butter, and sever your femoral artery, causing you to bleed out in 2 minutes while the anteater watches you go meet your ancestors. Can you imagine having to explain to your ancestors who felled woolly mammoths you got your shit packed up by the most unserious creature on the planet hitting a T-pose?
Dominance absurdist.
Australia's scariest spider.
I don't like these spider videos. Can we establish that?
Is hiding a deep secret.
Stop getting closer!
What is it? Well, introducing the Huntsman, native to the land down under, and the #1 cause of tourists absolutely shitting themselves on camera.
That guy died.
And look, in defense of said tourists, I will be the first to admit, yeah, this looks scarier than a f***ing job application. Those gangly ass legs and the hair making
I just got scared.
look like Slender Man's testicle. Now, as if having a negative charisma stat wasn't bad enough, I regret to inform you that the Huntsman spider grows up to 30 f***ing centimeters in size, making it the largest spider on the planet by leg span.
No. No.
And legally allowing Subway to market him as a foot long. Now, being the spider equivalent of a Ford F-150, you'd think he'd have the common decency to be slow, you know, tank build.
No.
Unfortunately, the Huntsman is f***ing turbocharged. Now, it's usually at this point in the video that I would inform you that he is also highly venomous, because it's Australia. However, that's his big secret. The Huntsman is a big sweetheart. You see, despite looking like an SCP, Huntsmen are incredibly timid, and on the rare occasion they do bite, their venom is harmless. In fact, seeing one of these bad boys in your house is a blessing in disguise, because if you see a Huntsman in your home, I guarantee you won't see any annoying ass flies or mosquitoes, because he's eaten them. You see, he understands he's big enough that he should be paying rent, and so he contributes to the household in pest control. I personally have had one of these bad boys as an 8-legged roommate, and I can tell you, they're pretty good company. Except for the part where they cause car crashes.
Hello?
Yeah, you see, huntsmen like to hide in tight spaces and cracks, and they do it by flattening out their body to fit into the gap. Now, in the house, that usually means you'll just find them behind a painting, but when you're flying down the highway at 110k an hour and decide to flip down the sun visor because God is trying to flashbang you, yeah, they like to sleep in there and you've just dropped one into your lap. Now, whatever you do, don't panic or you're gonna crash the... This is a...
I would cry. I would just die right there. Like, my soul would leave my body for a moment. It'd come out my mouth like, bleh. You know what I mean? It would just go, blah. And I'd just wait until it left. It'd have to leave. If it didn't leave, I would fully die. I mean, I would just be paralyzed. I wouldn't die. I mean, you've told the story of the one that fell on your cousin's lap. I'm sorry, like half my spine just like curled.
A spider. It's a snake.
Hello? Transformation?
Introducing the Iranian spider-tailed horned viper. As the name suggests, native to Iran, and you are all probably wondering why the f*** this snake has decided to attach a cosplay of the average Australian resident to his tail. The answer is food. You see, every known snake species is a predator. Some eat Bambi, others
Okay.
eat Rennie, and the spider tail, not unlike myself, absolutely fucking loves KFC. However, birds famously tend to fly, and last I checked, nope, ropes don't have wings.
That is how you can tell that they're not dragon related.
So, how does this viper get his zinger box? The answer is again, food. You see, birds eat insects, and the spider tail knows this. So, rather than trying to chase his prey down, this lazy fucker has evolved the evolutionary equivalent of DoorDash. You see, when a viper feels like a meal, it'll start the hunt by finding a nice rocky outcrop to curl up on like a couch. And due to the camouflage on his scales, this snake becomes practically invisible. Once he's nice and
No one hears a word.
he begins to slowly wiggle his tail back and forth in front of his face, perfectly mimicking the motion of an insect. Think of this as him placing his Uber Eats order. Meanwhile, up in the air, our undercooked chicken tender is flying around when, holy shit, a free meal! What a delectable bug, just sitting there on that rock. And so, Tweety Birdie swoops down to grab himself an insect Happy Meal. And just as he's about to reach his meal, this spider can remove your lip.
He got speared. He went. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Chat, you know what I mean. I know you know what I mean. Bagel supremacy! Why does he have a katana?
But how? Introducing the brown recluse, native to the United States.
I've seen one of these. Oh, no.
Of America, and a prime example of don't judge a book by its cover. Because despite only coming in at a huge 2 centimeters in length and rocking the spider equivalent of default character customization, this little is a level 500 rot build that gives Melania a run for her money. You see, a bite from a recluse starts in the most American way possible, with you accidentally stepping foot onto his private property, causing him to exercise his Second Amendment rights. But considering a spider can't really hold a gun, he's gonna settle on biting your ass. Now, that initial bite's
I love that he uses that picture, that video for the bite.
painless. You smack him away, all's well. There is just one small problem. Congratulations, you are now the proud owner of necrotic venom.
That is why I do not like them. Necrotic venom is probably the number one thing I never want to happen to me.
Coursing through your veins, which at first does nothing. You walk back to your house, the bite starts to sting a little more. You feel sick. The wound swells, and the blood vessels around the bite burst, turning it a deep red. Over the next few days, that colour shifts from red to purple to black, as the venom literally destroys and kills the surrounding tissue in a process called necrosis. This causes the skin to literally rot and...
It is not pretty. That's a rotted apple for, like, reference to what happens to the tissues and stuff. And yes, that is exactly how it works.
fall off of your body. And if you don't catch it in time, that rot's gonna spread. If you're lucky, it'll...
To give you an idea, if you don't get the antivenom literally instantly, like literally within like minutes of getting stung, bit, guess what? Say goodbye to that limb because it's already rotted it. They have to cut out parts of it or cut it all off. Depends on how far it got.
It'll only make you violently ill and leave permanent scarring. If you're unlucky, it just keeps spreading and venom starts to destroy your blood cells.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
Shut your organs down. Now, there's kind of only one solution to that, but you weren't using that arm anyway, right? has a straight-up Pokemon.
Pokemon! Pika!
Introducing the brush-tailed possum. More specifically, the golden brush-tailed possum. Native to the land down under and one of the rare examples of an Australian animal that isn't expressly designed to DoorDash you straight to heaven. You see, the brushtail is one of a grand total of 23 species of Australian possum, which, despite the name, share absolutely no relation to the red-blooded American opossum. These adorable little marsupials come in all shapes and sizes, from the ringtail possum to the sugar glider, and to our protagonist here, the golden brushtail, which is really just a common brushtail possum with a rare genetic mutation called leucism that causes them to lose the pigment in their skin. So basically, it's a fucking shiny Pokemon. Coming in at around 4.5 kilos and 40 centimeters in length, these tree-dwelling marsupials are nocturnal and primarily herbivores, mainly consisting on a
I don't like how he says primarily.
diet of leaves and fruit. And for added cute points, as marsupials, yes, they carry around their babies in a little pouch like their roided out cousin the kangaroo. However, come on, the thing is from Australia, you didn't really think these bad boys would be squeaky clean, did ya? You see, they aren't entirely herbivores. Sure, they love a good salad. They will also quite happily raid a bird's nest and turn Tweety's kids into a 3-egg omelette. Roadkill? Sounds like a fine steak dinner to me. And just because it's not a venomous predator, doesn't mean it can't take your fucking finger off. And the cherry on top, Aussie Pikachu here doesn't go Pika Pika. No, you see, Down Under doesn't have Pokemon trainers, because when you step into the tall grass out here, you hear this absolute fucking demon.
Oh, you did. You died. The you died thing needs to pop up. Is Australia OP? No! Maybe. Okay, fine, we'll watch it. Leave me alone, chat. Ring! Nintendo wants their sound back. You did. Good job, kangaroo.
When creating a character, it's important to take into account which server you plan to play on, as well as the current state of the...
Never pick Australia. Ever. It is not the I start out at weakness, get really strong really quickly server. It is the noob trap server. Where you go to die and never be heard from again.
meta on that server. Most builds don't have the mobility required to change servers, so you want to make sure you know what you're getting into. But which server is the best choice for you, and which abilities can give you a leg up on the
This
competition?
server bad.
This is the first of a new series which will examine all of those things and more. Today we're taking a look at one of the more notorious servers, Australia.
This is
Australia
really bad.
is known for being one of the most dangerous servers in the entire
It is the noob trap server. You go there to die.
game, and this is by no means unwarranted.
Steve Irwin is here. No! Oh, look, convicts. Shark with freaking lasers. They do not. Do they? Deranged gunmen. Angry natives. Baby killer dingoes. Ooh, sharks.
There are
I
a
like
few
sharks.
reasons why the meta
I like
there
shark
is so
shows up
scary.
twice.
Reptiles as a whole are generally mid-tier. We've talked on this channel a good bit about how most snakes are garbage, and how the unique moves available to lizards generally don't end up being worth the investment. With that said, the Australian server seems to be the one with the most high-tier reptiles. It has not one, but two different groups of crocodile builds, one of which being the saltwater crocodile, the highest-ranking crocodilian build in the current expansion, due to their super broken 0-to-death combo and health regeneration ability. It's also got most of the top-tier lizards, the monitors. While the best monitor players opted to play almost exclusively on the island server of Komodo, Australia's got many of the runners-up, including the Parenti. It's also got...
I'm sorry, but I choose dragon. In the mountains of America. Step on my doorstep, you die.
plenty of the more gimmicky lizard
Kablam!
players too, but I
You know?
digress. Australia is the only server where there are more venomous snakes than there are non-venomous ones, which means snakes on average are actually one of the top builds there. You may remember from my snake video that
Oh, are we spawning in as a monster or like an animal? Battle for Bagel! Yes, you can. Yes, Yui. Midmush! Hi, Midmush. I hope you're doing well today. Nizuki! Konbawa, Boka-chan. Good evening. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Hope you're
Top-tier
doing well.
snake build is the Cobra, and while they don't have the intimidating hood ability, Australia's inland taipan, brown snake, and tiger snake are all technically cobras. They've got the same well-rounded base stats and neurotoxic venom you see in your classic cobra build, which brings me to my next point. Venom is so dangerous because it takes only a single wrong move and just a single bite or sting to spell the end for you, and Australia is packed full of players who'd be more than happy to do just that. I've already talked about snakes, but
I bet you the cons are wide variety. So, like, everyone eats everyone. And you have Florida Man.
gets worse. Going for a swim but pick the wrong spot? One brush with the box jelly and it's game over. Reaching into a confined space? Pretty risky when the piercing bite of a funnel web spider could cost you everything. This isn't really a specific trait, but rather just the uniqueness of everything there.
By the way, Lock-On, you need to order bottles of peppermint. It keeps away all bugs. Spiders, cockroaches, ants, they don't like peppermint. I've heard that, like, what is it, like sandalwood or something is even more powerful? Is it sandalwood? I don't remember.
Experienced players will be able to jump into a new playthrough on a new server and have a general idea of what to expect when they encounter a novel build, simply based on there being similar builds on other servers. But what on earth are you supposed to expect when you meet something like this for the first time? What are its weaknesses? Its strengths? Nothing about it.
There is no weakness to the platypus. The platypus will slay you.
Its appearance gives you any idea
You
at
know, I
all
just realized I didn't check my YouTube to check and see if
about how to go about combating it. And the same goes for quite a few of the most popular builds there. The relative abundance of jank makes Australia a really unforgiving place for newbies. While all of that can definitely be frustrating to play against, it's important to also recognize all the things Australia is lacking in. Number 1, a lack of tanks. The best tank builds tend to be mammals, which opted for high defense and HP. This tends to come at the cost to mobility, making it difficult for tanks to function as carnivores, and so most tank players tend to choose the herbivore
Oh, you already
faction.
got it, Lachlan, thank you.
Unfortunately, Australia's abysmally low rainfall means the spawn rate for plants is too slow to support a large herbivorous tank. This leaves the rushdown and ambush-based builds without a counter and lets them get away with strats they otherwise shouldn't be able to. Number 2, a lack of powerful mammals. One of the reasons reptiles do so well on the Australian server is because instead of having to deal with their worst hard counter, carnivorans, they instead are faced with a different group of mammals, marsupials and monotremes. I won't beat around the bush here. These builds are mostly low tier, for one very specific reason: low intelligence. The majority of marsupial players go for the small generalist approach, similar to rats and raccoons, but they're missing what makes these builds so effective: problem solving. Marsupials, such as wombats, wallabies, opossums, and kangaroos, all lack the perk that allows most mammals to access higher intelligence-based abilities, the corpus callosum. Since they don't have this, the best strategy is to drop the generalist playstyle in favor of the mobile herbivore. This is actually what makes kangaroos the only marsupial builds to break out of low tier and find their way into actual relevance in the meta. While they aren't tanks, they've essentially taken inspiration from the rabbit or gazelle build and made it bulkier at the expense of intelligence. But even
I'm learning so much. Can we agree, though, that probably the top tier is Spider, right?
so, if you compare competing builds that have similar stats and
Or would it be
strategies,
Snake? Probably Snake. Actually.
intelligence is almost always the tiebreaker.
Snakes eat spiders, right?
It's why even though they're relatively new to the server, dingoes and feral cats are oppressing their marsupial counterparts, like the thylacine and the quoll, which brings me to my last point: lack of stability. The Australian meta is at a major tipping point. While there's no meta that went unaffected by the Anthropocene expansion, Australia saw the highest influx of new players and also the highest rate of quitting of any current server. Even though more unique builds exist there than almost anywhere else, the high tiers are mostly full of invaders. Dingoes, cats, humans, cane toads, rabbits, and yellow jackets all conquered the server because they exploited the weaknesses within the meta. Since things are changing so fast, it's difficult to offer advice on how to succeed in Australia. but I'll give it a shot anyway. First, Venom is one of your biggest concerns when trying to break into the meta there, so putting some points into Venom resistance can go a long way. Builds like the Mongoose, Honey Badger, Boar, and Secretary Bird have done well in other servers by using their resistance to neurotoxin optimally, and I could see builds like these being serious contenders if they gained a foothold in this region. Second, and this would be much more difficult, but kangaroos are kind of getting away with success that they don't deserve simply because they're too big to beat without risking a lot of damage. A build capable of one-shotting them with a stealth attack or simply overpowering them with strength and bulk could find itself reigning supreme. Big cats like the jaguar and leopard could excel there, but I could even see cheetahs pulling it off, especially since there aren't lions and hyenas to bully them. Bears would also be an excellent choice. Nothing here could stand up to a charging grizzly. Lastly, in my very first video, I discussed how the cane toad's optimized poison ability allowed it to spread across the Australia server unchecked. While they're definitely a tough build to beat, intelligence-based bird players seem to have found a way to defeat them without triggering their poison effect. This advanced technique means Australian corvids could potentially have a niche all to themselves without spending any points to unlock poison resistance. So there you have it, an in-depth
Pulled its lungs out. That's metal.
rundown on the state of the Australian metagame. This was a bit different from my normal tier list style videos, so if you enjoyed it and want to see me cover other game servers,
I'm trying to think.
the comments below are your best way to let me know.
I would assume
Special
snakes
thanks
are
to my
probably just
patrons
the number
for bringing
one.
my monthly pledges out of freefall and allowing me to continue
Mongoose
bringing you guys
is being
top
like a
tier content.
counter.
If you're still here, I do have a shoutout / wholesome story I'd like to tell. I'm not going to drag this video out, so instead I'm just going to let you guys read the story in the video description. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and I'll see you all in 2018.
2018! We took a trip down.
Australia!
A few moments later.
Oh, I didn't say thank you. That was very good. I forget things a lot. But yes, obviously we love our Parz and tier videos. I think the coolest one was definitely the anteater one, because he goes, wah! You know? And yes, I did record that separately, log on.